Welcome back. Thanks very much for staying with us. You're watching WION The World is One with me, Raisha Sehgal, and this is Speed News. Let's get you started. U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff has hinted at a breakthrough related to ending the war in Gaza, saying that U.S. President Donald Trump has presented a new proposal to Arab and Islamic leaders, which has been called Trump's 21-point plan for peace in West Asia. The plan was shared during a meeting at the UNGA, where leaders from countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Indonesia and Pakistan discussed the Gaza conflict. The joint statement released after the meeting called for an immediate ceasefire, humanitarian access and also a comprehensive reconstruction plan for Gaza. Italy has urged an international flotilla carrying aid for Gaza to hand over its supplies to the local Catholic Church in a bid to avoid further risks after the flotilla was attacked by drones overnight. The global Sumud flotilla, consisting of around 50 civilian boats, aims to break Israel's naval blockade of Gaza and include activists like climate campaigner Greta Thunberg. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni proposed supplying the aid through Cyprus to the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has announced that a Spanish Navy ship will be dispatched to assist the Gaza-bound global Sumud flotilla after several of its boats were targeted by drones off the coast of Greece.
يوسف قرنا واحد شفنا مرة داش يجمع قرنا واحد.
France and US warn Iran has a final choice to avoid tough UN sanctions by addressing concerns over its nuclear program. France, Britain and Germany plan to trigger sanctions by Saturday, citing Iran's lack of cooperation. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has been urged to reverse steps taken after a June Israeli-US attack and allow full access to UN nuclear inspectors. Denmark's Aalborg airport was temporarily closed due to drone sightings affecting 4 flights, including 2 SAS planes, 1 Norwegian and 1 KLM flight. Now the closure comes 2 days after Copenhagen airport was shut down for 4 hours over similar drone sightings, which Denmark considered a serious attack on its infrastructure and potentially linked to Russian drone incursions. Investigations are ongoing to assess the cause of the drone sightings and potential connections between the incidents. Amid ongoing trade tensions between the US and India, US Energy Secretary Chris Wright praised India's thriving economy and highlighted the opportunity for enhanced energy trade between the two countries, calling India a fast-growing economy and awesome ally. He urged India to reconsider its purchase of Russian oil. Chris Wright's response comes after India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal's comments on the country's readiness to buy more US energy. A gunman opened fire from a rooftop onto a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Dallas, Texas, killing 1 detainee and injuring 2 others before taking his own life. The shooter, identified as 29-year-old Joshua Jahan, fired indiscriminately at the building and a transport van in the Sari port from the rooftop of a nearby attorney's office. Officials found unused ammunition with anti-ice written on it near the shooter's location, suggesting an ideological motive behind the attack. 23 workers were rescued after being trapped for 43 hours in a collapsed underground gold mine in northern Colombia's Antioquia department. Colombia's National Mining Agency reported that the main entrance to the mine had collapsed on Monday due to a geomechanical failure. The miners were met with applause as they emerged from the mine and were provided with food, water and ventilation during the rescue efforts. The mine has about 60 employees and contributes a small portion to Aris Mining's total gold manufacturing in the area. At least 9 people have died and 8 others are hospitalized in Barranquilla, Colombia after consuming liquor known as cococho. 5 of the 9 deceased were found on the city's streets. The victims, mostly homeless, were sold the cheap liquor in recycled plastic bottles for around 50 cents. According to authorities, the liquor is manufactured in unsanitary conditions using harmful substances like alcohol and methanol. The patients were admitted to hospital in a poor area of Barranquilla with symptoms such as altered consciousness, abdominal pain and vomiting. Local health secretary Stefan Arjau said some of the patients are in serious condition and that is due to intoxication from the liquor. Officials are investigating the source of the adulterated liquor and working to prevent further incidents. Costa Rica reopened its airspace after nationwide closure lasting over 5 hours due to a power outage affecting radar systems. The disruption halted all air traffic, impacting both domestic and global flights at key airports. At least 44 flights were affected at the Juan Santa Maria Airport, according to operator Aerospace. Transportation Minister announced an investigation to prevent similar incidents in the future. Brazil's Senate has rejected a constitutional amendment that would have granted lawmakers broad legal immunity known as the Shield PEC. The proposal was met with widespread criticism, with senators and President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva condemning it as a threat to democracy and a tool for impunity. The amendment would have required congressional approval for criminal prosecutions of lawmakers and expanded privileged jurisdiction for party leaders. Its rejection is seen as a victory for accountability and transparency in Brazil. Lawmakers in Rio de Janeiro State Assembly have approved a controversial bonus for police officers who killed criminals, sparking fears of a massacre. The measure, which awaits Governor Claudio Castro's approval, would allow officers to earn 10 to 150% salary bonus for seizing heavy caliber weapons or neutralizing the criminals. Critics, including lawmakers and human rights defenders, argue that this policy would incentivize violence and lead to more deaths, especially in poor and densely populated favelas where police interventions are already common. In 2024, nearly 2 people died every day in police interventions in Rio, with a total of 700 fatalities. The proposal has been compared to the Wild West bonus. It's a similar measure that was scrapped in the 1990s due to a surge in police-related deaths. Thailand's new coalition government, led by Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul, was sworn into office after receiving royal endorsement for the new cabinet portfolios. The 36-member cabinet, comprising the Bumchai Thai Party and its coalition partners, took the oath of allegiance in a traditional ceremony before King Mahavajira Longkorn at Duset Palace in the capital Bangkok. The Thai Prime Minister plans to dissolve Parliament by end of January, with election scheduled for March or early April. Anutan won parliamentary vote in early September to become third PM since August 2023. Chinese President Xi Jinping attended a gala in Urumqi, Xinjiang, Uyghur Autonomous Region's capital, to mark the region's 70th founding anniversary. The gala, titled Beautiful Xinjiang, showcased the region's progress and development through three parts: vibrant socialist construction, dynamism brought by reform and opening up, and a beautiful vision of people working together. She emphasized maintaining social stability, fostering economic growth, and promoting unity among ethnic groups.
以及中央和国家机关新疆维吾尔自治区 文艺晚会
All right, China has pledged to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 7 to 10% by 2035 from its peak in 2025, marking its first ever absolute emission target. The Chinese president announced this commitment at the UN Climate Summit, emphasizing the need for developed nations to lead in emissions cuts and provide financial support to developing countries. China also aims to boost non-fossil fuels to over 30% of energy consumption, expand wind and solar capacity sixfold from 2020 levels, and make electric vehicles mainstream in new car sales. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urges countries to set new climate plans for 2035 with faster and deeper emission cuts ahead of COP30 negotiations in Brazil. Guterres noted that the Paris Agreement has reduced the global temperature rise from 4 degrees Celsius to 2.6 degrees Celsius, while the EU has not finalized its target, submitting a temporary goal instead. The US, under US President Donald Trump, is withdrawing from the Paris Agreement, calling climate change a con job. Tech giants Apple, Google and Microsoft, along with major online travel agency Booking.com, have been asked by EU regulators to detail the measures that they are taking to prevent their platforms from being used for financial scams, highlighting Europe's growing concern over the cost of online fraud. The EU is now ramping up regulatory scrutiny of US tech companies under the Digital Services Act, which requires big tech to do more to tackle illegal and also harmful content online. Financial scams ranging from fake hotel listings and fraudulent banking apps to deep fakes of public figures promoting bogus investment cost Europeans more than $4.7 billion annually. Regulators worldwide have now warned that the rise of AI could make consumers more vulnerable to scams such as phishing and fraudulent investment schemes. A man in his 40s has been arrested by the UK police in connection with last week's ransomware attacks on Collins Aerospace. The UK's National Crime Agency said that the suspect was held in West Sussex on Tuesday, and that is on suspicion of offences under the Computer Misuse Act, and has since been released on conditional bail. The cyber attack knocked airport check-in systems offline, causing widespread travel disruption across Europe. The Collins Aerospace breach is the latest in a wave of hacks across the continent that have had major offline consequences. Berlin Airport, one of several airports across Europe, have also been impacted by the Collins Aerospace hack. It has now said that it may take several more days before its systems are fully secure and operational again. All right, Simon Fraser, University of SFU in Vancouver, British Columbia, has introduced a new faculty member who is entirely AI generated. The bot named Kia does not grade papers or perhaps take classes. Instead, it engages in real-time discussions, debates, complex topics and explores questions alongside its creator, Professor Steve DiPola. Kia has been designed in the likeness of a British black woman and goes by pronouns she and her. Oil prices edged lower as investors took profits after a 7-week high. That's despite ongoing supply concerns and strong demand signals. Brent crude slipped to $69.05 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate declined to $84.68. Prices had earlier hit levels not seen since October 2023. Market participants remain focused on potential disruptions from hurricane season and tight supply from OPEC plus cuts. However, experts say that some traders are locking in gains amid volatility. U.S. sales of new homes jumped in August to 20.5%, reaching an annualized rate of 800,000 units, well above economist expectations of 650,000. The strong monthly gain marks a 15.4% year-on-year increase and was aided by lower mortgage rates following the Fed's 25 basis point rate cut. Yet, the labor market appears to be cooling, averaging just 29,000 jobs added monthly over the past 3 months versus 82,000 a year ago. Markets will be watching whether this surge signals a sustained housing recovery or perhaps a volatile bump amid weak job growth. Gold edged off record levels after U.S. data surprised markets, casting doubt on the timing of Fed rate cuts. New home sales in the U.S. jumped to their highest since early 2022, a signal that the economy may be stronger than expected. Weighing on the prospect of a swift monetary base, bullion remained around $3,740 an ounce, less than $50 from its recent peak. And this as investors balance safe haven demand against a firmer dollar. Markets are now turning their attention to the upcoming U.S. inflation data for clues on the Fed's next move. All right, Canada has signed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with Indonesia, aiming at establishing duty-free access for up to 95% of Canadian exports within 8 to 12 months. International Trade Minister Maninder Sidhu highlighted opportunities in agriculture, energy, telecommunications, defense, aerospace and small modular nuclear reactors. This agreement marks Canada's first major trade pact in the Indo-Pacific under Prime Minister Mark Carney, aligning with a broader strategy to reduce trade dependence on the U.S. This deal is expected to be ratified within a year and could potentially double trade volumes within 6 years. Defending champions India took their place in the Asia Cup final with a 41-run win over Bangladesh. Bangladesh won the toss and elected to bat first. Opener Abhishek Sharma 75 powered India to 168 for 6 despite a late innings slowdown. In reply, Bangladesh were bundled out for 127 in the final over. Kuldeep Yadav started for India with 3 for 18, while Jasprit Bumrah and Varun Chakravarti picked up 2 wickets each. The men in blue could face arch rivals Pakistan in the title clash if they defeat Bangladesh today. And with that, we slip into a very short break. Thanks very much for staying with us. You are watching WION World. Stay tuned.